running an agency doesn't have to feel like juggling flaming chainsaws. At Schmidt Consulting Group, we help you ditch the chaos, land more clients, and even enjoy running your business again. No fluff, no BS, just strategies that actually work. Check us out at schmidtconsulting.group because your agency deserves better.
Join us as Michael Blood shares his 25-year entrepreneur journey, insights on adapting to tech shifts like AI, and the challenges of balancing agency life with creative side hustles. Don't miss this inspiring episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Schmidt List. I am your host, Kurt Schmidt. I am so happy you are taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me. I've got my new friend, Michael Blood, joining us today. We're going to learn a lot about his agency and his entrepreneur journey. So I'm excited to introduce him. Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
I'm excited you're here. So tell me about the work you're doing these days or been doing for quite some time, and who do you work with?
Sure thing. My name is Michael Blood, and I own a software agency where we build web and mobile apps for clients. It's named Matraex. We grow and shrink with projects over time. I've been doing it for 25 years. My longest employee has been with me for 12. And currently we have 5 people. We've been up to 16. So we handle all sorts of different size projects. But we're all software devs, and we focus on complex programming challenges and platforms. And we typically outsource all of our marketing and UI focused work. And that's just an overview of what I do as a software developer and as an agency.
That's great. And talk to me a little bit about how did you get into the agency world? How did you end up starting this business?
It was a long time ago. It was more than 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a programmer. I built a couple of websites.
Yeah.
And tried to figure out what building a website even was, because it was before 97. There just wasn't a lot out there.
Yep.
And I just did it by myself, and I said, I'm going to go to college. And I went to college, and I happened to this professor who said, oh, you be a student programmer. I went to be a student programmer at Boise State here. And I quickly realized that I'll never work for the state again.
Yeah.
And I started taking side projects from professors. And then I launched out as a freelancer. And projects quickly grew because back in the day, people sought me out. They were like, oh, who can we get to do this stuff?
Right.
And it quickly grew. I hired my brothers. I dropped out of school and said, these programming classes are slow. They are not, people don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But I hired one of my brothers out of college and said he dropped out. And my other brother I hired, he actually finished school. And
fair.
Yeah. And then we took on some projects. They went off and did other things, hired other people, and the agency was born.
Yeah. Wow. And so over the years, what are some of the biggest shifts you've seen in your business and growing this agency? Are there some big milestones? Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about AI, but talk to me about other things maybe that have been impactful.
We've never been very big. And so the market shifts that we have felt the market shifts that have existed have never coincided with the rise and fall of projects.
Okay.
Like you always hear, okay, how did the .com bust go? Or how did the market crash go in 2008? And it never coincided with a dip in business, because one or two clients a year that have, or we always have more than that, but one or two large clients a year that have large projects, that it just never coincided because
That's interesting.
Money. Yeah.
I remember when mobile first showed up at the agency I was at, we had a lot of Flash developers at the time. And basically, like, we landed a mobile project and told the Flash developer, because there was no Flash work going on, we were like, you have a couple of weeks to learn how to do iOS development. Go. And that's how we started our first mobile team. They were all ex-Flash developers. And it was a big kind of lift and shift. But other than that, similar to what you said, there wasn't any real big world things that really shook us other than I remember when big data started raising its head as a thing, and we started looking for data scientists as a new role. And then when design became much bigger part of what our customers were requiring, we added on user experience and UI design and things like that over the years. But yeah, it was mostly not really the market telling us what's going on, but the clients coming in and saying, this is what we need now. And we're seeing that more with AI stuff these days, except for the clients. It's not like mobile or big data where it's like a clear outcome of implementing this new technology. It's just a lot of curiosity I see in a lot of the agencies I'm working with where people are like, are you using AI? Should we be using it? It's a lot of question and ask.
Yeah, definitely AI is different than any of the other shifts that I've seen out there, and it is going to impact things way more drastically. But I think I have a little bit of a theory on why some of the other market shifts didn't affect us. Now, we had plenty of dips along the way. It just didn't happen to be because of the market. It was because the projects finished. It was because I didn't spend time filling the pipeline with more work when a project was finishing. And that was, I think I could probably describe every dip as that.
Yeah, you took your foot off the gas.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes projects did end because a client maybe wanted to end it sooner than we expected. That, of course, happens, and that's not necessarily as much of a gas-related thing, but I could have had a reservoir too. But anyway, I have a theory, and it does translate into our type of clients, but my slow adoption of technologies, and I have been very slow. I don't do bleeding edge. I adopt a technology after it's been around for a while. I don't lean into new platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't jump on the Ruby bandwagon. For years. I didn't jump on any of the other platforms. I didn't start doing mobile development for clients for years. So I didn't rise with that either. And so that's why I stayed small and shrunk. So I have a theory, but that's one of the constraining things, but it's also constrained dipped exactly with the market, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think if you look at most of the signs, smaller, more nimble agencies are going to be doing much better going forward. These big behemoths they're all struggling because of AI and other things. The amount of overhead that these folks have had to accumulate to stay at those larger sizes makes them just move slower than what clients are hoping for these days. And the processes that we used to put in place to ensure a great outcome feel more like gatekeeping and
interesting way
for clients these days, right? Where and again, what's cool about what I like about you, Michael, is there used to be a lot more custom places out there. There isn't as many these days. And I think one of the reasons why is because you've had to adapt to things, and some places just have not adapted. I know 3 guys that run a cobalt agency in Tennessee.
Okay.
And all they do is cobalt. They have 3 clients that are old, like insurance companies and some things that they're never going to change the system that they're using for what their inventory management is or whatever the case may be. So then these guys are our age or older, probably older than us. So, there's a niche out there.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that those are dwindling and they will continue to dwindle.
Yeah.
And they've always been dwindling, but the rate at which they're dwindling is changing a ton. Back when they probably first learned COBOL. And by the way, that's my first program class was COBOL back in the day.
Yeah.
But the back and people like picked a language and they said, hey, this is my specialty. Oh, maybe I'll pick up one or two. Really nimble people picked up several and became a generalist.
Yeah.
But now every single programmer knows every single syntax immediately.
Yeah.
And so I think that's great for these guys, and I hope that it goes well and they're providing tons of value, and that's awesome. But someone can come up very easily and jump into that niche now.
Oh, yeah.
In a way that you just couldn't or wouldn't in the past.
For sure.
So even that's changing.
Yeah. So tell me how you've been adapting over the last year or two. We've got vibe coding that showed up. We've got Cursor now. We've got Copilot. We've got a number of things that are there to help enhance. And what has been your philosophy and process to adopting these tools or vetting these things? Or I'd love to hear about your approach and whatever advice you'd have for others in this journey.
I don't know that I am far enough into it to give advice, but I'll tell my story and people can do what they want. But right now, Claude and OpenAI are the only two platforms that we are using, and we're doing it all with wrappers, I guess is the best term for it, in a way that allows us to capture what we're and quantify how much we're using on per client basis so we can bid for it. And we call for AI usage, we call it part of our material. So it's part of time and materials billing. And that is how we are, I guess, going to market with AI. So instead of saying competing with it, or you can use it, or us, or we use it and we just work faster now, we actually use it as a billable tool and bill that tool separate. That's how our agency is engaging with our clients on it. And I actually thought that it would be a much larger part of what we're doing by now. I thought that it would skyrocket as we started doing it. I thought our time would be a small percentage. And by now, a year and a half later, we'd be 10% and AI be 90% of what's happening. And it's actually closer to the opposite, where it's only 10% AI and 90% us still. But it is growing, and I think that it will continue to grow. It just hasn't been at the rate I thought it would.
Yeah.
We're still doing a lot of watching, and we're still doing a lot of training. We just cannot feel comfortable putting code out there that we haven't touched yet.
Yep.
Part of that us, part of that's our clients, part of that's our commitment. Part of that is maybe we're stuck thinking it has to be at a certain quality level when we know that, hey, we might just be able to blow all that away and start over.
Sure.
And it's not that big a deal, but all of those things are part of the journey we're on, and we're taking our clients on with us.
Yep. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I work with a lot of different types of agencies, some that do custom software, some that do marketing, some they do video production or different things. And yeah, a lot of clients are asking, like, are you using AI? And it's more not really a qualifier. They're just more curious. They're like, if you're using AI, is it cheaper now? I don't know if it is or not. Yeah. What has been your experience with clients' discussions around AI?
Yeah. One of the reasons we took so long, because we were using it internally for much longer. And I've been toying around with lots of different tools as they come out. But the questions that you just described are actually not just, I don't approach them as though they're just a curiosity. What that really means is that's a problem that we don't know, and we need to know whether you're using AI. So the way we have decided to move forward with it, and we've got only a half a dozen, not that many, but a half a dozen clients who've signed on with it. But we have our clients review the AI tools that we're approved to use. Because their code is being sent right up to the servers, they need to make sure they agree with the terms of that. And we commit to a certain level of quality. And we don't just say, hey, we're going to we're going to delegate this portion of the code to AI. And if it's worthy of production, not, you're going to just have to deal with what it gives you. We put our name on the line for what we're putting out there still. And we just say, well, we can do it a lot faster because of AI.
Yep.
I won't give away the secret sauce, but we also have a margin that we make. So when you bill AI, we make a little bit of money on that, right? And so we have an index that we use that makes it so that it's worth it for us to do that as well. So it's not just, hey, we're giving away our margin we make on our agency.
Yeah.
We're actually just using the margin we make on AI.
Yep.
And we show that billing of what the billing is for AI as opposed to our team on the time and materials. So that we're transparent and we're not, hey, are you using this? How is that cost actually affecting what we're doing? Are you absorbing that? Are you passing that along to us? I just wouldn't feel comfortable if I had to ask someone that question and they didn't know or feel comfortable giving me that answer, I would have to be concerned about that relationship. I would say that's going to go away at some point soon.
Yeah. No, I think that's the key is what you just brought up is that transparency. And because the AI in today's world, AI isn't just doing it for you. You have to have people that know how to use the AI. So it's another tool. And yes, to your point, it can make it go faster, but only if you know what you're doing and what you're looking at. Because in the past, they used to say, we were not going to need QA people because of Selenium and automations and unit tests and things like that. We'll be able to, I've been hearing this, engineers and QA is going to go away for a decade now because of automation. And you still need somebody to actually, that knows what good looks like, is looking at these things, because AI does not know what good looks like.
No, it doesn't. I can tell you, and I know this is probably a very repeated conversation that people keep on saying, but I can't tell you how many times a day I say to AI, I say, oh, that doesn't match the syntax output that we were expecting, or we used a different methodology, or just retraining it on things that it should know, things that if an intern back in the day were to have done that as many times as AI does that, you would say, I'm not sure if we have a future. To a employee, okay, when you get it right, you just did the work of 20 people in a couple of minutes. When you get it wrong, we have to review all of it or do a complete rollback.
Yep.
But I daily or hourly probably. I'm
at this point, right?
saying, here's the output, and no, we don't use that methodology.
Yeah.
Remember, we use this.
And this is a question I like to ask of people in your position as well, is that I'm guessing in a lot of cases, you have kind of two sides to the coin when it comes to your staff. You have people that are very eager and that people are kind of naysayers. And you have to balance holding back the people that are a little too cutting edge, that are trying things that are not necessarily vetted, and they're spending I see a lot of people that spend more time on the tools than the work sometimes. And then the other people that are just trying to ignore it because they're trying to avoid change. What has been your experience with your team, and how have you been managing those differences, if they exist?
I am the one who will try it all and will spend way more time because I'll spend more time on the system and the capability and learning the problems and learn how to use it up front than anything. And then I won't want to execute. That's just the main way that I approach anything. And so I'm the one who goes out there, all of my team, and it's not huge anymore. So that's probably why I don't have a huge spectrum, but all of my team have been more resistant. And I think the main reason is because it just, maybe with their personality, they saw it as a threat initially and just ran with that. And until we had it as a tool that we knew that we could use in a reliable way to expand what we're doing. And as soon as that's when people got on board. And I only had one person, he's no longer here. I only had one person who said, I don't feel comfortable using AI because of the energy problems that it's going to cause. And they just weren't going to be happy, and they were going to come, they said, kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
But that didn't end up happening. It was maybe 9 months ago that moved on. But everyone else not had problems with it as much as just not knowing which tools they were going to use and not doing the R&D that I love doing. So it ended up working out really well.
Yeah, that's great. Again, you got to be intentional. You can't just throw things at the wall and see if they stick. That's not how you run a business.
And with our client code focus, meaning all of our code and all of our time we do have internal projects, but with all of our code being for clients and all of our time that we built them being intentionally built them, and they know it and they know how we track it, it never made sense within just our systems to just introduce that to their project for fun or just because. And so it by just the way we set up our client relationships, it kind of limited whether we were going to just try it out on their code. So we did all that work internally. I did all that work after, you call it after hours, but they've always been my normal working hours.
Yeah.
Super early, super late.
Yep, exactly. Yep. I get a lot of AI work done while binge watching shows at night on my laptop. I wanted to ask you too, as a business owner, you've also have some side hustles, as it were, going on, and how you balance your time. Speaking, it's a good segue into balancing time. So you're doing a co-working space as part of the agency, and you've also got a product. You want to talk a little bit about how those things have either interrupted or helped your approach to the agency and being a business owner, and how are you balancing these things today?
The balance is the key question, because I don't know that I am balancing those things, but they do apply. But my building here fits about 25 people, up to 25 people. My agency's never grown that big. It's only been up to 16 or take some. And currently we only have 5. And so the building is too large for the company. And so I spun off a new business. It's not part of the agency. It is a separate business. And my agency rent a space for it. It actually pushed my agency, which I've always had in person. It encouraged it to be able to go remote for the first time. Fully remote, we've always been able to do it, but fully remote. And then we just come into the co-working space twice a month is all. So this is the first time we've ever really done that deliberately. We did first a couple of months during COVID, but not very long. I don't know much about Idaho, but we didn't follow
all the restrictions.
And so we returned to office very quickly. Yeah. Because everyone wanted, folks like, I don't want to be at home. We all came back to the office pretty quick. And so we never really got good at remote, but we have since then. And so as I've shifted personally into other business interests and also just making it so that the building can afford itself by renting out the spaces to other people, I've got into lots of other things. Me and my wife all have several Airbnbs, and we originally did long-term rentals on them. I'm getting to the point of this in a second here, but we originally did long-term rentals, then we switched to short-term rentals and loved it. We absolutely love it. We can be in the property multiple times a week. We take good care of it. We see it. We're constantly improving it. And when we looked at our office building, we said, how do we do short-term rental with it?
Yep.
And the co-working space is that model. And that's how I got into that particular side hustle.
Yeah.
And to answer your balance question that I don't necessarily do very well, I actually have been spending way more time on it because as a software developer, I, of course, am building the platform that that I could just go out and buy a SaaS or a co-working space. But instead, I'm building it myself and being able to add everything I want into it. Integration with the lights or outside, integration with the door that opens, and not getting all sorts of third-party things. I'm building it all custom. And like I was saying before the call, I will get stuck in product all day long.
Yeah.
And I do that all day long.
It's new too, so it's fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. It really is fun.
Yeah. And like you said, I think creatively, it's important as business owners that we have a creative outlet. And for me, my YouTube channel is a big creative outlet, right? Even though it does benefit the business in a number of ways, but it's creatively challenging for me to come up with scripts, to film those things, to work with a motion graphic artist to add some things to it. And it's like working with a team again. And for me, it's creatively challenging and interesting. And I think it's important as business owners that, especially in the service-based industry, a lot of our work is based around somebody else's needs. And having the opportunity to work on things that are based on your needs is a very special opportunity. But like I said earlier, you just got to balance that stuff because it can overwhelm and take over the service part, which is, that's where the bread is being buttered part. Okay. So
yeah, I don't know how, well, I'm positive that my balance is different than a lot of other people's balance.
Sure.
I'm a 4 or 5 a.m. guy. I just wake up sometimes 3 or 4 and I just get up and go into work. There's the house is quiet and I'm often at work. I'm always at work all day, but I'm at the office until 6, 7, 8 at night because I work because I love it. I call it work, but I'm always scratching my creative. I've always, ever since I started loving doing it 25 years ago, I still love what I do and I just do it all day long. Someone might say that's not a good work-life balance. And I'd be like, I don't know that there is a difference for me between work and life.
Yeah.
When I stop doing this and I go and spend time with my wife or talking about and the things we love, which might be our Airbnbs, the next business, how we're going to improve it. It's what we do. And we're empty nesters now. My youngest is 22 and she's just finishing up college. But we don't have young kids that need our time. And so just doing what I love all day long, every day.
That's great. That's such a blessing. Michael, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, running all the businesses. And if I want to get in touch with you, if I want to follow the things that you're working on, where's a good place to contact you and stay in touch?
You might have needed to reserve 5 minutes to find out all the things I've been working on and contact information. I've got a lot of them, but Matraex.com is a great place to find me for agency. Boise, Maine co-working space.com is a great place for the co-working space. If you were to search Boise Airbnbs, my wife, and it's her who did it, all 3 of our Airbnbs are 1%, so they come up and you'll find them on the Airbnb platform. And I think that's plenty of the different ways to find the things that I've got going on for now, but I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me shout those out.
Yeah. For anybody who's listening, there'll be links down in the description so you can go and check those out. Michael, thanks again for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Kurt. Take care.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, we'd love it if you left a review on iTunes or Spotify. It makes a big difference. And be sure to check out schmidtconsulting.group for more ideas and insights. Remember, every big dream starts with a single step. Keep moving forward, stay curious, and don't forget, we're rooting for you. See you next time.